Sunny TV Arsenal, and we are back, guys. Today we got a special guest, and you guys won't even know who he is until I show you who he is, because I don't know if you guys have guessed it yet. We're playing a guessing game today. I got a special guest, former Man City player, Norwich player, former Irish international, played for Blackpool, played for Wrexham. Honestly, mate, you don't understand. Jim, I am excited that you're here. The people don't even know who it is yet. You want to give them a little bit more guesses of who it is?
They might know me from the main road days and my ability to perhaps sing.
Okay, so we got he's a former footballer, professional footballer, played for Man City and all these clubs. He's an artist, wicked artist. I'll show you guys some of the artwork that he's done. He just did this recently from scratch. You literally did that sketched.
Yes, from pastels, and that was the end product.
Yeah, and then this is the final hint, guys. He's also a presenter. You'll see him on shows like Bein Sport, maybe even Sky. You've done some commentary, and now you might probably start to guess who it is, guys. You might start to guess who it is. But hey, nice having you on, Jim. How you doing? How's everything?
Hey, Gal, thanks for inviting me, and it's good to be on. I love talking football, whatever it is. So it's nice to be on, and any questions that come through, I'll be more than happy to answer.
Okay. Since this is an Arsenal YouTube channel, we are going to get into what happened yesterday. And we did a post-game reaction if you guys missed it. But Arsenal and Man City, let's just say Man City are a really good team, and Arsenal is still struggling with their rebuild. So Arsenal, Man City finished 3-0, and it was because of, you could say, silly mistakes from David Luiz that put us behind 2 goals. Not only that, in 27 minutes, have you ever seen a player do what David Luiz did? Come on, give away a goal from a mistake and get a red card. And then Mustafi does the last mistake, and you're a Man City supporter. Man City is just levels above Arsenal, let's be honest.
They were sharp last night, I have to say. But of all the games, I wasn't sure if there was going to be a slip-up. I thought it would have been last night, only because Arteta knows the Man City players more than anyone. And I didn't know whether it was going to be a full tactical, all-out kind of war with Pep, and who was going to get the right tactical abilities right. So I actually thought it was going to be a lot tougher than it was. As it happens, I think right now, because of the restart, I think the fitter teams right now are going to do well, and City look quite fit. They look fit. They look sharp. They move the ball around and got the goals when they needed. And it's unfortunate for David Luiz. I know he's been targeted even from Gary Neville and everyone else that's been in. But listen, as a former player, you don't want to do that in a game. You don't want to give a red. You don't want to get a red card. You don't want to give away a goal. You don't want to give away a penalty. And as a fellow professional, those games happen. You just have one. It happens. But as my first coach used to say, Colin Bell, when you have those games, you just have to pull your sleeves up and try and work hard and try and iron out any mistakes. But I feel for him right now because he's.
Let me ask you this: you played as a defender at some point in your career.
Yeah, I played.
Do you have a disadvantage playing on the left-hand side or the right-hand side if you're not that foot? Because he was playing on the left-hand side of the defense, and the ball came to him on his left foot, which is his weaker foot, where he tried to hit it, and that's what led to the first goal. Do you think if a player with a left-footed player was there, he would have controlled it easier, or can we give him a break here?
Mate, without a doubt, there's a lot of people think that centre backs. If you play centre-back, you play in any of those positions. And maybe back in the day, you had to adapt. But in today's game, it makes it easier with the two if one is a left-footed player and the other one is a right-footed player, without a doubt. Because you have favourite sides. So when it is on your left foot, if any of the play goes down that way, even to slide tackle, it's easier to do it on your left foot on that side. If you are a right-footed player playing on the left side of defence, it does make everything much harder. And I know a lot of fans will say that he's on a lot of money. He should be able to play wherever he's put, which is to an extent true. But you play better in your position, in whatever that may be. And there's times when you go onto the pitch, you don't want to walk onto the pitch saying, I'm not playing in my position, fans, please forgive me. It's just, you just go there and try your best. And as it happens, there's a couple of mistakes. And as defender, unfortunately, you get punished by mistakes. A goalkeeper, one mistake, that's all you have in a game, and it could be a goal. And as a defender, you may have one or two mistakes that lead to just a mistake and not a goal. But unfortunately for defenders, you can't make many mistakes. A striker, you can go and try and shoot. You can try Cruyff turns. You can try whatever. And it doesn't normally result in a goal at the other end. But as a defender, and David Luiz last night, he was very unfortunate.
Unfortunately, there's no defending him. But can contract issues, as a professional yourself, could a contract issue make you play bad? Can it actually affect your performance?
Well, this is a tough one, because normally the beauty of football is when you go into the football pitch, no matter what problems are happening, whether be it at home, contractual, you go on the football pitch and it's a way of releasing and forgetting everything that's happening around you. That's normally the first thing. Football's a good release. When you get on the football pitch, forget everything. For those 90 minutes, you are just in the zone. That's normally the first thing. Now, when you're in contractual talks, and I saw, read a bit last night saying that the board aren't particularly backing Luiz.
Yeah. He came out with an interview after the game and said, it's my fault, but I should have made a decision on my career and my contract situation. And to be honest, it's kind of a surprise, because we all thought he signed a 2-year deal, but it turns out it's a 1-year deal. And this is very shocking to everybody. Yeah,
I see. So then he's wondering, am I wanted here? You know, he's not getting any younger. So he's probably thinking, this could be my last contract in the Premiership. So yes, from that, he's probably gone onto the football pitch with a different mindset. He shouldn't do. He was on the bench. He probably didn't think he was going to come on at all.
Yeah.
And he's come on early. So he's got to get his mindset right. And it's just really unfortunate it's landed on him. And yes, all the media questions are focused to him. As a professional, he should be able to get over this and go on to the next game, forget this, and just go on and try and produce a decent performance.
Yeah. Jim, getting back to the Arsenal-Man City game, when did you start supporting Man City? Was it when you became a player there, or was it when did you start supporting them?
Probably when I signed for Manchester City at 15. And listen, I didn't know anything really about football. I would have signed for anyone. I was going to sign for Shrewsbury because I just love football, and I was a late starter. I didn't play football till I was 10.
Wow.
So I was happy to go anywhere. I was just playing football. I was like, oh, and then Shrewsbury came. And I was like, oh, somebody wants me. And as it happens, my sister had, she rang in. It was the days of Yellow Pages, not now where you can just Google a number, So she just rang the youth development officer and said, look, there's a lad that's going to sign for Shrewsbury, and we live in Manchester. Do you want to have a look at him? And I went for a 2-day trial. In those 2-day trials, I probably played about 20 minutes. I was on fire in those 20 minutes, by the way.
Oh, wow.
And I signed straight after that, and I didn't realize how big a club it was. And, and it's the way I got treated while I was there. The staff that were there, it was more like a big family club when I was at Main Road. And you can't help but follow the club from that age, and which is what I did, and ended up a Man City supporter, and I still am a Man City supporter.
Did you support somebody else before Man City?
Well,
I was gonna get there.
So when I lived in Zambia originally. That's where I was born and bred.
Yeah.
And then when I moved over to Wrexham, because I didn't know anything about football, and nothing at all. So when I moved to Wrexham, I just wanted to fit in, man. That's all I wanted to do. I was probably the only black guy in Wrexham, and I just wanted to fit in. And the first thing the guys used to ask me, or the boys back then, the young boys, who do you support? Who do you support? Do you support Liverpool? Say you support Liverpool. And I just went, yeah. I didn't. So
you got peer pressured.
Oh man, I just went, I'll go with the masses. So I went with Liverpool. I went, I support Liverpool. And kind of just got not bullied into it, but I just thought, I don't know what they're talking about. Let me go with it. And just, as it happens, back then, Liverpool, that was the days where everyone wanted to be John Barnes.
Yeah.
They were a fantastic team. They're winning everything. And so, yes, I did follow Liverpool from their early days. And as it happens, Steve McMahon, who I used to watch playing,
Steve McManaman,
especially in those early years with John Barnes, he came to Manchester City later on in his career, and I got to play with Steve McMahon. And I tell you what, that was a lesson. That was an absolute lesson. Steve McMahon was an absolute teacher in the game of football. I thought he was going to be shouting and trying to do. He was an unbelievable. It's the first time I experienced an older, an experienced player passing on their experience to a young player. It was unbelievable. The only person I could say that about it was Steve McMahon. He was fantastic.
Wow. Wow. Okay, so let's get the Man City Arsenal game out of the way. We know Arsenal's not good. We know Man City's amazing, but let's start talking about your career. So what was it? 1993 where you started and you got into Man City? And did you debut in 93 or when did you debut?
No, I was only young, so I was 15, 16 then. I then went and did my A-levels. And then I signed pro contract around 18. Now, at the time at Man City, there was players. We had so many players. And managers were sacked every year. Unbelievable at Man City. So every time you came through as a youngster and you came through, you were at reserves, they'd get sacked. And a new manager would come, and because you're not played in the first team, they just wanted to look at experience. So you'd get knocked back down the queue, and it was really frustrating, to be honest, trying to break through at Manchester City because there were so many players and so many youngsters that had been talked about that had been to Lilleshall or have played for England as youths. They were the first ones that would be looked at, and so I just you had to be patient and wait. And I loved it there, and I was more than chuffed when I ended up making my debut.
Nice. Now, I know you were playing for Man City from 93 to 2000. In that time, you also you had would you say a lot of opportunities to get into the first team, or was it because of the managers your opportunities were always like here and there?
Yeah, they were here and there, and I wasn't one of the players that were talked about. I wasn't the best player at the club at all. I wish I was, but I wasn't. So I wasn't the first name that any manager that came in would talk about. And I knew that. And so I had to, I was always learning. I always felt I was playing catch up to all the other lads that were there. There were some amazing lads. So I was just always watching and learning and trying to be better. That's all I was doing. So whilst I wasn't getting the team, I was still getting a contract. So I still get a year. I still got 2 years. Oh, here's another 2-year contract. So I thought, whilst I'm there, I might as well keep learning, watching the players coming in and out. You get to play in the first team. You'd watch first team players and see what they were doing, pick the good bits and try and eliminate all the bad bits. And so it took me a while to get into the first team, and then eventually I got to the first team. You don't realize how intense it is to play in the first team. And as it happens, I got a couple of injuries which kept me out for a long time. And when you're at a big club like Manchester City, unless you are a Ronaldo or Messi, they don't wait for you. They'll just get someone else in because they can do. And that was my downfall. I was Young Player of the Year when I made my debut. So and I didn't really kick on, which I wish I had. But injuries and such like came into play, and that's football for you.
A lot of people watching probably would have aspirations to play in the Premier League and play for a club like Arsenal or Manchester City, Liverpool. And in 2000, what was it? In 98, when you got your debut against Brentford. Do you remember that game?
No, it was against Bradford. It was against
Bradford. Do you remember that game thoroughly? Like, is it still in your memory?
Oh, it's my best game. It's because I was playing so well before it. I'd actually been to see the manager, Frank Clark. And it's the first time I'd done it. I asked to leave. I didn't want to leave Man City, but I was like, I was thinking, I'm playing well here. I'm not getting a sniff. And I went and asked him, and I think he just gave me an extra 200 or 300 quid a week extra. I was like, so what's going on here? You know, I want to, and I got the call up to be in the squad. And even then I was just like, I'm not going to play. I just thought I'm not going to play. And they named me in the squad. I was like, okay, I'm on the bench, but I was like, it's not going to happen. And Lee Crooks, a very good friend of mine, he got injured and I had to come on the first half, and I was so relaxed. No one knew me. No one knew me unless you were a die-hard City fan that had come and watched the odd reserve game or the odd A and B team games. No one watched me, so it was really nice to come on, and I was on fire that game. It was probably my best game in a blue shirt, and I thoroughly enjoyed it, man. And the buzz. One thing I have to say, the buzz from going from no one knowing you, and after that one game, going out at night or just going to the petrol station. Oh my! I'll tell you what, people all of a sudden know you. That was the weirdest thing. People talking to you football that had never seen you before. That was the weirdest thing, but still a great buzz.
Nice. Now, I was watching something on YouTube about you, and Robbie Savage was a close friend of yours?
He was my best mate in school. He was. So when I moved over from Zambia and moved to Wrexham, when I went into school, Robbie Savage, he'd already signed for Man United at 10, 11. And I'm not kidding you, he was incredible. He was unbelievable at that age, man. He just dribbled past people like they weren't there. And it's because of Robbie that I ended up playing football, because we hung out together, we'd play football. He was so serious about football. So whilst some of the lads were going smoking round the back of the schools, we were playing football, and I was quite good at school, so he'd copy my homework and I'd copy his football, and it was my drive. It was just watching him going, oh, how's he done that? Let's see if I can do that, and just keep working your skills and working, and that eventually paid off. I was buzzing, man. For the two of us to go to Man City and Man United at that time was incredible buzz. And so yeah, he was a massive influence at the beginning of my footballing career. Wow.
Now let's get into some of these other clubs. What was it like getting transferred from going on transfers on loans to like the clubs like Blackpool? When you first went on loan, how was that? Like, what was it like? Like, did you feel like,
it's not the easiest, I have to say. And looking back now, experience of the clubs I went to, Norwich, Swindon, Northampton, and Blackpool. Like I say, Blackpool as well. You get to see different dressing rooms. So when you walk into a dressing room and see what the lads are like, you can tell quite quickly if you've got a good set of lads that you're just having a bad time, or, man, I remember going to Northampton, the dressing room was shot to bits. Literally people not speaking to each other, and it was like they were in a relegation battle, and you could tell straight away it was like this is bad, this dressing room. And do you know, when you enter a dressing room and no one knows you, some look at you because you've been at a club like Manchester City as like, oh, who's this big shot coming in? Who does he think he is? And straight away they've got the backup about you. Others don't care, and it's very difficult. And I went from living in Manchester and going training every day to a local club to all of a sudden driving an hour or so. I went to Blackpool, was my first one, and then I went to Norwich after that. Norwich was miles away, and I'm to drive, stay in hotels, leave the family. It wasn't easy. Do you know what? It makes it easier if you're on big mega bucks, but I wasn't back then. I would have played for nothing. I loved it.
How did the transfers work?
So, no.
How did the transfers work? Would you have to drive yourself to the team?
Yeah. Well, I don't know what it's like probably now. It might be a bit different. There's a lot more money involved now. But what would happen is they'd ask you to go. So Norwich, for example, they'd put me up in a hotel. So that's all paid for. Some clubs will take on the wage burden. So if you're a decent club like Norwich, they'd probably take on your wages to take it off Manchester City's books, which is a way that they try and go and get first-team experience and try and take the wages off the main club. And so they try and look after your accommodation on that front. Blackpool, they didn't, because I was an hour away. So that was just back and two driving from the house. And again, that's different from normally waking up and Manchester City's training's on your doorstep. So it's not as easy as it sounds when you say I'm going on loan to play, because dressing rooms have cliques. They have their best mates in there. They know who they are. So to come in and try and infiltrate that group and to try and get in really, really quickly is a difficult thing. If you don't hit the ground running, it's really hard to come in and play well. and I went to a few of these clubs, and yeah, it's a tough time, but good experience now looking back. And to give any of my expertise or anything I can tell to young kids, I can talk to them about that.
Yeah, so you went on loan from Man City, you went on loan to Blackpool, you went on loan to Norwich, you went on loan to Swindon Town, Northampton. Did any of those clubs
Yes.
actually look at trying to sign you full time?
Yeah, well, when I went to Blackpool, Nigel Worthington was the manager there, and he really liked me. And tell you what, football, and any mums and dads watching this and hoping their kids are aspiring to be a professional footballers, you need a lot of luck in the game. You need the right manager or the right coach to like you at the right time to move you to different clubs. It helps massively. And Nigel Worthington, who was a manager at the time, he then went and was the assistant manager at Norwich. So literally within the space of a few months, I'd been to Blackpool, and then he invited me to Norwich. So I went to Norwich, and Brian Hamilton was the manager at Norwich, and Nigel Worthington was the assistant. And as it happens, Brian Hamilton got sacked, and Nigel Worthington took over as manager. And he'd rang me and said, "We'd like to take you on." We spoke about wages, we spoke about terms, and I was buzzing. Thought I'd gone there, and he got his budget through from the board, and it fell through. I was gutted. And that was the only team. It's a fantastic team, by the way. Norwich, a lovely place in the world to live. It's a pain to get to, but it was the only place I would have signed. The others hadn't expressed interest, and it was very difficult at the others because they were all struggling in relegation battles. But that's how it panned out, and I ended up in Wrexham, where I kind of grew up from my 10 to 16, so it wasn't too bad in the end.
Yeah, you featured for Wrexham a lot. It says you played over 140 games for Wrexham and basically found your home there. That was like you played the most games there out of all your career games.
Yeah, again, I should have played more. I got injured again, injuries, and I found that, especially as I got a bit older, that my injuries, I suffered bad scarring from an injury, and had I known that at the time, I would have done more massage for muscle injuries to help. And just to give an example to anyone that's watching this, is I remember tearing my hamstring, my first injury at Manchester City, which took me out of the team and probably in the end my downfall. But he said, if you have an elastic band and you pull the elastic band and it works fine. So when I pulled my hamstring, he said, imagine cutting the elastic band and putting a little piece of string in that elastic band. When you go to pull that elastic band, that little piece of string won't pull. And that's the effect I had on my hamstring. And I lost, a fraction of my pace, and took me ages to get back. And this is the same again. I was player of the year at Wrexham, my first year there. And I thought I was going to move. I was on fire. At Wrexham. Literally thinking, right. And I spoke to my agents, and I don't know what they did at the time in getting anyone to watch me. But I didn't move. I was surprised I didn't move. But again, I got a couple of injuries, a big thigh injury, I had an op on my ankle, and I ended up having a double microfracture on my knee, which ended up finishing my career. But I should have played many, many more games for both teams, Manchester City and Wrexham. But like I said, I could probably count on one hand how many games I was actually really, really fit, where you go onto the pitch and be like, I'm fit. Normally there's someone stood on your toe in training, someone's dug you in the ribs, or someone's whacked your eye. There's always something. But that's just, again, that's football. You have to deal with it and get on with it.
Yeah, so as a football, one thing I realized is, as a footballer, you didn't mind it necessarily where you played, as long as you were playing football. It's not like today players are almost like snobbish towards signing for certain clubs. Like they feel like once they're at a level, they don't want to switch clubs ever.
Yeah, no. Football's changed, yes, I would have, and I was probably one of those players, almost a bit Milner-like in the fact that I'll give my all, and if you put me up front, I'm going to run everywhere into the channels. I'll try anything. Put me full back, I'll do that. I love playing, and I was a fit lad. So and I realised quite early doors that when you run around and do your best on the football pitch, fans will forgive you for the odd pass that goes wrong. It's just, if you come off and you've give your all on that pitch, fans will accept it, and it's something that I realised really early on, and I worked really hard. Colin Bell, I've spoke about this before actually. Colin Bell, who was my first coach, I didn't realise who Colin Bell was. And for those of you who don't know Colin Bell, he's got a stand named after him at Manchester City at the moment. Arguably one of the best players that's been at Manchester City. He was my first coach, and he always used to pull me to one side, and he always used to say, "Give 100%." He said, "Whatever you do," he said, "just always give 100%," because he said one day your touch will be gone, and it just won't happen. But if you roll your sleeves up and run and work, he said the fans will agree with you. And he said if you don't make it in the game, he said you can always hold your hands up and say, there were other players better than me. I just tried my best, but I couldn't make it. And it's something I took onto the pitch and did whatever position I was asked for, and give my all. And it was a good lesson. That's something I try and pass on to all the kids.
Hey, Jim, amazing. Now, just before we get into your internationals, I was going to mention, guys in the comment section, hello, everybody. We are here. If you guys could give us any questions you want to ask, we'll ask those questions. Don't be shy. And I wanted to say a shout out to Wax Online. I was on his show earlier today. Cool guy. And yeah, big up to you guys in the comment section. Jim, you got some fans already. Now, I wanted to talk about, yeah, we got a lot of fans from Algeria. Guys, big up to you guys. Respect in Algeria. Yes. I wanted to say your international career. I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit here. You played for Northern Ireland. Did you ever want to play for the African nation of Zambia, or what was it?
Okay, let me tell you a story here then. So I could have played for Zambia, but I also could have played for Wales and England at the same time because of the passport that I held and the family that were around me. Yeah. And when I got the call up for Northern Ireland, my dad's from Belfast, so I well and truly qualified for look in there. I got well and truly qualified for Northern Ireland. My mum was Zambian, but Zambia never came in for me. They never asked me to play or anything like that. And at the same time, because of my passport, I was included in the Welsh squad. Bobby Gould was the manager at the time, and he rang me and put me in the Welsh squad. So I was in the Welsh squad and the Northern Ireland squad at the same time, simultaneously. And Robbie Savage was ringing me saying, "Come on, play for Wales. We'll have a great time playing for Wales." But my brother had already made his debut for Northern Ireland, and I thought, well, my dad's from Belfast. My brother plays for Northern Ireland. It would have probably been a bit controversial if I had gone to Wales. So I ended up going for Northern Ireland because my brother had been there. And if Zambia had come in, that might have been a different tale altogether, but they didn't. And so I ended up going there. I knew I wouldn't have played for England. I wasn't good enough.
What about at the time? Would you have had competition for places at Zambia, Wales? Where would you have gotten the most game time if you look back at it now?
Probably Zambia. But I also have to think that Zambia is a right old trek on the plane to get to. And when you're playing local football, it's a long way to go with jet lag and everything. Whereas Northern Ireland's it's just across the way, even Wales, and so perhaps if they'd have come in, that journey times is massive, and I probably would have played more then. But again, my Northern Ireland career, again, it goes on your and how you're playing for your local team. And I was injured a lot of the time, so I wasn't going to get picked if you're injured. It's never going to happen. I think it goes on form again, and so I wasn't playing, and I think that's why I didn't play as many games as I did.
True. Would Wales have been looking back? Do you feel like Northern Ireland, Wales? Would you have gotten more opportunities at Wales?
I don't know. I'd probably say at that time, the players that were playing for Northern Ireland, there was more players playing for Northern Ireland that were in the higher leagues. I'd say. So I'd say Northern Ireland were a better team at that time. And I was looking in midfield and looking at would I be able to play in there. And yes, I did think I would have played in there. But listen, hindsight's a magnificent thing. If you can go back and do the same again and play for Wales and see where that took you, I don't know. I would have had a great time myself in there, without a shadow of a doubt. And a few other players that I've played with that played for Wales. But yeah, that's long gone. And I still thoroughly enjoy my time playing for Northern Ireland.
True. I got some pictures here. I'm just going to show some of the people some pictures. If you can remember, I'm not sure when this was, what year this shirt was, but do you remember the Kappa Man City kit?
Yeah, so that was one of the best kits. The brother one there, the Kappa. Yeah, that was. I think I was just ghosting past someone there. It was. Yeah, I love that kit. I loved all their gear, the Kappa gear. There's me and my brother playing. I'm not sure who scored. It could have been Dickie there. And
Yeah.
I can't. That picture in particular. I tell you what, brings so many memories, especially my brother and the time we had. I listened to play football with your brothers. It's just different class, and
Yeah.
we have so many tales to tell when we talk a lot of the time. And being at Main Road at that time was like a big family club, and
Yeah.
the fans were fantastic for me in particular. And yeah, I had a great time.
Yeah, you guys could have been like the Nevilles, but across the road.
Yeah, yeah. Although they had much more success than we
Opportunity,
did.
I would say. I wouldn't say success. I would say opportunity. What
Yeah.
about this kit? Do you remember these?
Which ones?
This one right here. Can you see
Well,
it?
this one here.
Yeah.
This one's my brother. Funny enough,
Yeah.
this is him running off. And
Crazy.
Ida's kit was Ida's fantastic. Some of the kits we had, the training gear was unbelievable.
Yeah.
And yeah, my brother. So when I started at 10, he was 4 years younger than me. So those early years do help, and I'd say he was probably more naturally gifted than me, and had what I tell kids is when you go onto the football pitch, you have to have as many tools in your locker as you can. So the side foot pass, the half foot volley, the side foot volley, the control, the chest control. The more you have, the more you've learned and they're in your system, the more when the ball comes, you can access these tools really quickly. The better players, they're carrying overhead kicks in their pocket. They're carrying little nutmegs. And so Jeff, for me, had a lot more in his locker. And there's times probably when I played, I was always practicing. I still practice now. I still kick a ball now. I want to be as good as I can with the football. But I'm still lucky enough to break into a first team where lots of kids are trying now and can't. So I was very, very lucky to play, not just break in the first team, but also play with my brother.
True. Now I'm just gonna get into some of the comments. We got some people from Kenya. Big up to you. Please subscribe to the channel. Make us grow a little bit more. We're on the road to 5,000. This is one of my best friends, Abdelaziz. Shout out to you, bro, from Toronto, Canada. Respect to you. We got Wax asking some players. He says he remembers the kit. Riyad Mahrez was amazing last night. Somebody says here. And then I got a question for you, Jim. Who's the best football player of all time and why?
Oh man. So are we talking best football I've played with at Man City, or just football right now all time? That's the thing.
I think he's asking best footballer of all time, but you could give us a two-part answer if you like.
Okay. When I was at Man City, I played with a guy called Gilcan Clancy, who was phenomenal. He literally was phenomenal. He should be. People might laugh at me at this when I say this, but he should be regarded in the same vein as Messi and Ronaldo. I'm not kidding you. But the difference is he played with the likes of me, who were average, man. So he couldn't elevate his game. No, I'm kidding. He was that good. He just got a bit lazy on the football pitch.
Wow.
All he had to do was go past one man, and he got man of the match. He didn't do anything else in the game. We'd be playing with 10 men, and that's all he did. But man, when he first turned up in training, his balance and turn of pace over 2 yards was just electric. And he had, you've been there, and a lot of people watching this, where you get taught the drop the shoulder and move the ball, drop the shoulder and
direction.
Change direction. And I used to think it's not the greatest of skill till I saw Gabe Clancy. He had that skill down like I've never seen it before. He'd drop the shoulder and the whole crowd would go. He was unbelievable. And so he was the best for me
that you played with. Now the big question: Messi, Ronaldo, Maradona, Pele. Who is it?
Well, okay, growing up, we didn't have Google to look at players now. Like you can watch all the players now. Messi, Ronaldo, you can watch them constantly, the highlights. I had videos, man. I had videos, VHS videos back in the day, and the only ones that can get hold of at the time, because I was just trying to learn the game of football. So I got videos on George Best, because that's the only ones that were there, Maradona and Pele. Now Pele for me, not only did he do videos on how all the goals that he scored, but he did have some tutorials in there which were unbelievable. And I put Pele. If I had to meet Pele now, I'd be a bit nervous. I'll be honest. He's one of the. I'll meet anyone right now, but Pele right now is one I'd be really, really nervous about. So I think he's amazing. The Ronaldos and Messis of this world, that debate is going to go on. I'm not sure you can put anything up there. I think Ronaldo for me is probably the better all-round. Left foot, right foot, header, quick, could dribble better in his prime, I'd say. But his goal scoring record's phenomenal. Whereas Messi, you can't dribble better than Messi. I've seen him get out of positions that he shouldn't get out of, and so he trumps him on that. But who's yours, son?
I like Cristiano Ronaldo, just because it's personal preference. I honestly can't say football wise. It's just personal preference, and I know everyone's gonna slate me and say Messi's better, but that's just my personal preference.
Yeah,
and that's what I would say.
They're both fantastic, aren't they?
Yeah, they both are.
They're both fantastic. But if I'm going back to the early teachings of Colin Bell, like I said before, and giving 100%, I think Ronaldo right now, his regime, his weights, his constant strive to be the best is just phenomenal. His personal drive is incredible, and he's an incredible player and a good role model for kids to watch.
Now we got a couple more questions, but before we get into that, I want to talk about the artwork. I know you're an artist. Tell the people a little bit about the stories about doing these and what you think, and just how you got into art, because you must have gotten like A levels in something in school for art, because this is amazing.
Yeah, well, I always copied as a kid. I used to copy anything. I'd doodle, I'd copy anything, and it was only when I was around 12, 13, I started messing around with color and realized that I was quite good at making things come to life with light. And so when I did my A levels, I studied in a form called chiaroscuro, which studied light and dark, extreme light and dark. And the Sterling one there, as you can see, he's got a big sweat patch here, and I'd normally like a bigger shadows along the face, but I messed around with that one and the Peter Crouch one there as well. And I ended up, these are all pastels. I use acrylics and different mediums, but I can get more detail in with pastels. So they're pastels on card, and the last one I just did was of Sterling, and that's an acrylic. Yeah, that's an acrylic one that I did. That was for an exhibition in America. And close up, that looks really messy, but from a distance, it comes to life more. And I love doing it, and I did it at A levels, and I ended up doing portraits of footballers whilst I was playing football. It kind of ran alongside my career, and I didn't realize so many people, especially in footballers in particular, like they normally have a room or like a shrine to themselves, so they'll put shirts that they've switched with other players, and they've their match balls. Or
is that normal? Because to a normal person to just have a shrine of themselves, it's kind of weird.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is weird. But you got to remember that playing football is not everyone plays football. There's only a very select few that ended up making it, and there's times where you swap shirts with someone, and that someone could be massive. You're like, man, I just swapped shirts with. So you don't want to wash that shirt. It's like, I'm keeping this. So the only way is you frame it and put it up. And I think it's maybe a trend.
Do you have any?
Yeah, I've got quite a few shirts. But I swapped shirts with Duchamp. Was probably my biggest when he played France. They just won the World Cup.
Legend.
I didn't get to Zidane. I didn't get to Vieira. I didn't get to any of them. Some of the
any Premier League legends?
Pardon?
Any Premier League legends?
Any Premier League legends that I've got shirts of right now? Um, honestly, when I first started, and I didn't realize this, I wanted to keep my shirts because I'm playing for Man City. So I was like, I'm keeping my shirt. No one told me that I had a spare one that you could just you quickly swap. So my early days was like, I could have swapped with so many people. Even my debut against Spain, man, there was all kinds of people. Raul was playing for Spain back then. I didn't swap any of my shirts.
Wow.
So many, and so I missed out on them. But they're my memories. I've got pictures, with Beckham, with Lampard, and players that I played against. So they're there in memory, and it's all part and parcel. And but good times, good times.
That's great. Honestly, we need to get more back into the international games. But I'm just gonna answer these questions. He's a Man City fan, in case you missed it at the beginning. And Wax is asking a very good question here. I plan on doing my football agency course and joining the FA. However, as an ex player working with agents, could you give me any tips and what type to approach to take once I get qualified? What type of approach to take once I get qualified? Any suggestions on what he could do?
Okay. Well, first of all, I used to hate agents. I used to. They'd tell you something and it wouldn't happen. And I'd say the biggest one. So I'd say to him personally, if you're going to be an agent, is to be honest. Be honest with the player. You can't be telling him you're going to do something you can't. Can't tell him that. And so you have to be honest. And I think that's the biggest thing I can tell him as a former player that's had agents. Yeah, it's not very nice at times, especially when you want to move and it's not happening. And I wish they were just a bit more honest. And so that's the biggest thing I could say to him, to be honest. But it's a hard game. It's a hard game. I've dabbled a little bit. Even now, I'm involved with an agent that's trying to get players. So I watch players now, and I do one-on-one sessions with players and keep an eye out for them. And if they're decent enough, or I think they're decent enough, try and move them into a club. But trying to get into clubs right now, don't forget, there's agents from all over Europe trying to ring a manager. So to get into the club, to open that door is very, very, very difficult, and it's not the easiest of things. So if you could bring one good player to a club, that manager will remember you, and then you've got a pathway in to any other players you might need. So it's important to get a good player in to start with.
Yeah, it's kind of tough to start from scratch as an agent, but as a footballer, there's footballers who don't even go without agent. They negotiate their own contracts with teams and their own transfers. Would you ever suggest that for somebody? Because I feel like that's scary to go down.
It is scary. You could miss out on loads of things. You can miss out on loads. There's family members doing stuff, and you don't, unless you know the ins and outs of what's happening around you. You know the wage structure of everyone else. But typically agents would come in. They may have done another deal for another a player, a club, let's say. So they might know the wages that he's on. They might know from that someone else's wages. So they'll come in and guide your wages on that. Someone who doesn't know that might come in and say, give me X amount. And the club might be like, yeah, okay. And you're miles out from what they were going to pay you. It's a very scary thing. And you won't know till you're there at the time. But then you hear scary stories about agents, about how much they might take off you, etc. I'd probably go with. I've just said I don't like agents, but I'd probably try and do your research and try and speak to any former players that I've got someone that they could recommend, because recommendation is massive. Anyone who could recommend an agent, and as you know, any walk of life, from a gardener to a brickie, if they're recommended, then you normally know that they're decent.
Okay, now you're a triple threat. You don't only play football, and you don't only just present and art, but you also sing, right? So I'll take a triple threat. You're coming from every angle. Now, tell people a little bit about the backstory of this, because to me, this looks like something from the '80s, but it was taken literally recently, right?
Yeah. Well, listen, I was, when I moved over, like I said, from Zambia, I just wanted to fit in, and I moved in. I'd moved in originally with my half brother, and they used to go to church, so I went with them and ended up in the choir singing. learned harmonies, learned to read music. I ended up playing flute in the band. And when I got to about 14, 15, when it started getting serious on the football side, that all went to one side. And I didn't particularly sing after that. And I remember coming probably to the end of my Wrexham career, and I was listening to a lot of Frank Sinatra, and I just remember thinking, I can sing this. I can't sing Michael Jackson because it's too high, man, you know.
Yeah.
But I could sing this, and I was like, this really sits my voice. And as it happens, there was a girl that had come in to Wrexham who'd written a song and about Wrexham, which is, I don't know why, but she'd written a song about Wrexham, and she wanted all the Wrexham lads to come in. She wanted all the Wrexham lads to come in and sing in the studio. So I was quite buzzing out of that, and the bloke could see I was, and he pulled me to one side and he heard me sing and said, "Listen, do you want to come and do a guest spot with this girl in the theatre?" So I went and did that, and there was a bass player there who said, "Hey, you sound quite good," and he gave me a card for a guy who I sent him. I just said, "Look, I've been asked to ring you," and they'd set up this rap pack and said, "Look, I want you to sing this. Sammy Davis Jr., you have to put a wig on. Can you tap dance?" I said, "No, I can't tap dance." And I had to fake that. But I learned how to tap dance. And that show in particular, the one you've just seen there, is a show called The Crooners that's touring at the moment. And I'm a quintessential British gentleman in that one. And see, and I wear the tash and I do tap dancing. And you know what? It's quite a nice release. It reminds me so much. When you go on the football pitch, I'd say I'm quite a nice guy off the field, but back in the day, when you go on the football pitch, you can go sliding through someone all day long, no problem. It's like you have to put a mask on. It's like you go onto the pitch, you become someone else for 90 minutes. And when you go on stage and perform, it's exactly the same. You have to put a mask on. You have to be someone else. And you're still performing, not in front of 40 or 50,000 people, but it might be 2,000 people, you know, so it's more nerve-wracking. But it's like football for those 90 minutes, however long the play, whatever it is, you can release and forget everything else that's around you and be on stage. And you know, there's a 9-piece band there. They're like, it's all a bit like being in the dressing room again and having a good crack with the lads. And so it sounds weird, but it's not in one aspect, and I feel I still enjoy it.
Okay, so I got a couple more questions. Do you sell your pictures to the public?
Yeah, I do. Unfortunately, though, because I started selling to footballers early doors, I remember going back to my art teacher saying, "What do I charge for these portraits? Because, you know, these footballers are asking me to do portraits." And my teacher just went, "These are one-offs. You can never replicate. You can do something similar, but you'll never be able to replicate that ever again." And he said, "You can't go to a shop to buy that particular piece that you've done. It's a one-off." So my price just went up and up and up. And as I've realized, and there's no disrespect to the public, it's just that the footballers earn so much more money. So the portraits end up costing quite a bit of money. And normally it's kind of out their price range. I'm trying to look at other things to do where I can do stuff that's quicker, that I can sell to a bigger kind of public. And that's where I'm looking at my next kind of thing to go in, because the footballers right now have got a lot of money, and it's easy for them to get not just get a picture for themselves, but get a picture or a portrait rather to give as a present to their mum or dad or grandfather or sister, because they've got that much money.
Yeah. Okay. Understandable. Now, I wanted to get on your presentations and presenting. You've done some commentary work. You've even gone on Bein Sport. How come you haven't been on Sky lately? They're putting everyone on Sky. We need you on Sky Sport.
Mate, I'd love to go on. I'd love to go on and chin wag on there, but I'm probably not high profile enough for them, unfortunately. You know, if you've played a load of games, you can go on there. Personally, sometimes I think they could get other people, but the more high profile you are, the easier it is to get in to on Sky Sports. I'd love to go in, especially Manchester City. I know everything about Manchester City. Been there. I've been even to the lower clubs. I know all about relegation. Some of the some of the lights
BBC
that have been
work?
on Sky Sports. I've only played at the highest level. They don't know about relegation. They don't know about the relegation at all. So I'd love to. and that opportunity may arise at some point, but till then, I've had experience on commentating on games, commentating on women's football. That was tough. Women's
yeah,
football, when you don't know all of them, that's really, really tough.
the names
But
is tough.
yeah, really, really tough. Because, Premiership, you can go to Premiership game, you'll know all the players that are there. From Arsenal, you'll know them. Go to a women's game, which you don't follow as the same as a Premiership. That's hard to commentate on. So that was good. But even this, what we're doing here, it's all experience. I try and grasp every moment that we do and try and take it in as a learning curve, and then and it might help me later on down the line. So I'm always like learning, which is why I like the singing, tap dancing, something new, and who knows, something might come up more on the Sky Sports. Well, we'll see.
You need to call Robbie Savage. Be like, bro, get me on BT Sport.
Yeah. Hey, you'll be scared I might take over. That's what you'll be scared of.
You know what? You need to call him. Tell him come on Sunny TV Arsenal.
Yeah.
Anyways,
he's too busy now, man. He's too big time now.
Yeah, I know.
Pick the phone up even to me now. He can pick the phone up. He's a good lad. I love Robbie Savage.
You did some work with BBC recently. How was that like?
I've done quite a bit with the BBC. Again, it's a good learning curve. They get me in the studio and talking. And you know what? To sit with cans on and listen to every word of your voice, it's not the best thing. It's not nice to probably hear your voice coming back again. But it's a very good learning curve. And the BBC have been very, very good to me there, especially the radio side. And I'm hoping they've changed the structure a little bit on that side. And I'm hoping more of that will come in, particularly next season for some of those games.
Hey man, you definitely don't got a face for radio. You got a face for TV, so they should get you on. Yeah, right? No.
Yeah, face for radio. Yeah, I was good. You beat me to it, to be fair.
No, I was complimenting you. I wasn't making a joke.
I know. I was joking at that.
But okay, man. So you said you faced the likes of Raul, Didier Deschamps. Any other big name players that you faced that you could name off?
Mate, I had to do one the other day. I had to give my best 11 that I've played against.
Oh, let's do that.
When I started looking into it, I was like, who have I put? And I started going through the teams. I was like, actually, I've some good players. So when the one the shirt that I've got, the shirt Deschamps, when we played, France had just won the World Cup. They just won the World Cup, and they came to Belfast. In that team, Marcel Desailly was playing at the back with Laurent Blanc, and also Lilian Thuram was playing.
Oh wow!
Listen, I could go through the whole. They were all unbelievable, but they were there. I played against that were just fantastic. Even
did you play
Gary
against
Neville,
Arsenal?
They all played. Marcel Desailly was at Chelsea. There's any Arsenal players?
Did you ever face Arsenal?
I played with Patrick Vieira.
Legend right there.
He, for the size of him, he shouldn't be able to move as gracefully as he does. He's incredible. I went to watch Q&A with him, and it was just fascinating to watch. And I also played some futsal games with him. He invited me to play some futsal games with him. I think I could probably still run then, so he needed some legs. So I was the one who was doing all the running. But fantastic player, great lad. And when you meet the likes of Patrick Vieira and the likes of Roy Keane as well, and you meet them, and they're such nice guys, man. It's really nice guys. But like I said, when you got on the football pitch, if he played against me now, you won't be like, oh, there's Jim. No. He'll take me out, man. That's just football. You come on the pitch, you want to win, and that's how it works. And so he was again another one. He was fantastic. Michael Owen played against at Liverpool, tore us to shreds. Yeah. So there's some great players I've played against in there. Let me
ask you this: playing for several clubs, do you have loyalty to Man City over anything else because you grew up there and you played there you were there the most, or do you feel like loyalty to a club doesn't exist anymore?
I'd say personally, so I'm going back to the old days where loyalty was probably in the game a lot more, probably. But Man City, personally, for me, looked after me in a lot of ways, and I'll always love them for that. But fans will have a go at players for leaving and not being loyal to the club. But you've got to remember that players aren't in the game for long. You could get injured tomorrow and never play football again. And so it's a short career, and some players move on to either for wages or just to a different change. They might be getting stick from the fans, anything, and so or they might not just you know when you go look at a house or a new job, and one job it just seems to stand out more than the other.
Yeah.
Or one house, even though it was exactly the same as the others, you just get a better feel for it. At times at football, you can't get that until you actually arrive at the club. You sign for the club and you come in and you're there. You're like, okay, and you're just thinking, yeah, it's just not fitting in here. It's just not happening. And you go to another club and you're on fire. You blossom, and it happens as players. It just doesn't quite happen. Doesn't quite feel right. But again, that's football. I'm probably going off point a bit there, but it's just how football works, and yeah, that's just how football works.
Hey man, if it wasn't for injuries or anything else, honestly, I think you would have played for another 4 years if you wanted to, right?
I wish I can, because I'm playing now, man. I sometimes think I kick a ball around my son who's at Blackpool at the moment, and we ping balls together. And I sometimes think, could I be one of the oldest players to get back into the game? Can I get back into the game? Because I'm actually quite fit right now, man. I'm probably more technical now than I was when I was playing, because I've actually had to think about what I'm doing. Because when you try and teach kids, you've got to break it down, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm like, actually, yeah. So I'm probably much more technical now, but I enjoy the game, man. I love it.
Hey man, honestly, it's been great. Do you have anything that you want to promote? Let the people know where they can find you on Twitter and everything.
Twitter, my handle's Jim Whitley 1, and on Instagram it's Jim Whitley 10. Come and join us. There's always different topics we're talking about. But no, there's another portrait coming along that I will reveal as time goes on. But otherwise, I'm happy to be here. Gal, thanks for inviting me, and especially this being an Arsenal channel after last night, man. This is like, I was like, oh no, what's happening here? So thanks to any of the fans that are there. But I wish Arsenal the best. Oh, quick one before you go.
Yeah.
Would you have Wenger back right now?
Honestly, I think Wenger has passed his time, unfortunately.
Okay. Yeah,
and it's not the manager is the issue right now. The issue is they need to fix the recruitment, because the recruitment is a big issue. And I could go into a lot of people, but then I don't want I don't want you losing jobs.
Yeah, you're in transition at the moment, aren't you? And you'll get there, man.
I got my boy. Some of my boys are in the comment section. Respect to you guys. And then,
great.
Hey man,
honestly, thanks again, bud.
Thank you for coming on, man. And Sunny TV Arsenal, everyone, the family, respect to you guys. And we're gonna be out, guys. Is there anything you want to promote before you go?
No, mate, that's it for now. If I have anything, man, I'll be back on to you, guys. Thanks very much.
Okay, 1 second, guys. So yeah, remember, guys, this is the schedule for the remainder of the next 3 games. We're facing Brighton, Southampton, and Norwich, one of your former clubs. Do you think Arsenal are going to win those games?
Listen, who knows, mate? It's really about fitness right now. So it's just see how they go. I think it was a tough game against Man City, but yes, they've got massive. They should be able to do well against them. Yes.
Okay, so he's picking us to win those games. 9 points coming
definitely.
up. Incoming. Let's go. Hey. Anyways, guys, it's been nice, amazing guest. Jim, thank you for coming on. We all appreciate you. And guys, remember to subscribe, like, share this video, and let everyone know where to come for all your Arsenal content. Sunny TV Arsenal, the greatest channel on YouTube. Peace out, guys.